I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
I'm Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. I apologize, I'm messing around here. This is a paid request, this time for David. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, pretty much anything out of the blue, list, randomness, news, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for a film called The Swordsman. And David didn't say much about it. I had not heard of this film. It came out 2020, so it came out last year. And it's gotten some praise. And at the end of the day, I thought it was just okay, but it wasn't a bad film. If I thought it was a bad film, which granted that alone would be subjective because people have their differing opinions all the time, I would say it though. It's a very straightforward story. If you've seen the multitude of these type of films back in the day, whether it be Zatoichi, whether it be Shogun Assassin, whether it be plenty of other films that dealt with a man with a sword, only in this case it's a man who's blind, or at least he's losing his eyesight, and they show him as a young guy trying to protect his emperor because his coup is being led by someone that he knew. Things don't work out the best, and he wants to live a peaceful life with his daughter. And because of that fight, there's some damage to his eyes, so he's losing his eyesight, but he's honing his skills as a swordsman, but he just wants to live the quiet, peaceful life. But of course, that ain't gonna happen. At one point, his daughter gets taken. He calls Liam Neeson and goes in and kicks some ass with a sword. One of the bad guys is Joe Taslim. He's been in stuff. He was in the Raid Redemption. He was Sub-Zero in the new Mortal Kombat movie. And it's well done cinematography-wise. The score was very fitting for the film. It wasn't out of the blue or egregious. And when the swordplay happens, it's very well choreographed. Sadly, at times, there's some digital blood work, which I'd rather go with the Tarantino over-the-top blood that you see in the Kill Bill films, or even something like Shogun Assassin, or something to that sort. But when it gets to the third act, there's some fairly solid action scenes. I think that's one of the things. You don't see many films today where a lot of the action takes place with a sword. I mean, the last time I saw it was, John Wick 3, with the motorcycle sequence in that bit. But yeah, not a lot of these type of movies done. And thankfully, there wasn't a tremendous amount of wire work, which I appreciate. Very swift, nice, solid movements of the sword. there's a point where they do this in one take, obviously with some CG manipulation, and then with the slices, you see a little bit of digital blood. And of course, no, it's not realistic, but I'm not going to this film for realism. But it's this army of men with guns and using people as shields, using his hearing, slicing this guy, maneuvering, dodging bullets. He's doing his almost Neo movements. Some fairly decent choreography, and make it look as if it was done in one take, where you can pretty much imagine, if you remember, although I'll say it was done better, the gun scene in the Kingsman and the church when things are going apeshit. Yeah, those kind of scenes is what it's trying to be. And it's, I would say, my favorite part of the movie. There's also a bit like 5-10 minutes later, or like 5 minutes later after that, where he takes on this army of, they're not ninjas, but they look like ninjas, ninja garb, covering the face, just you see their eyes, and almost like another version of the, different version of the crazy 88 Bill. Then he starts slicing them up, and he gets hurt a bit more, stabbed a bit more, but he takes pretty much all of them out. And like I said, I do wish the blood wasn't digital. I mean, it's not as over the top digital blood as Ninja Assassin, but it was still fun to watch, and I like that it wasn't. I saw some user review on IMDb said there was a lot of shaky cam. I don't know what they're talking about. I did not notice a lot of egregious shaky cam. I really did not. So I have no idea what they're talking about with the shaky cam stuff. That's one thing I'll say the director did fairly well. And then he has two fights, one with the guy he fought when he was younger, and then our main bad guy, Joe Taslim. The lead guy is fine. Jane Hyuk, sorry if I mispronounced the name. I didn't mind him. I liked his demeanor, his calm demeanor. Just wants to be left alone. Just wants to eat. He doesn't say it, but I mean, Universal Soldier reference. He just wants to be left alone. And earlier he fights with a cane, but finally he has to unsheath the sword. I will say that the story didn't really draw me in as it did with others, because there's some with the bad guys changing of alliance. One doesn't trust the other, or one fucks over the other, and that really didn't draw me in. Like the characters didn't draw me in that much. Like it was fine surface level. Joe Taslim seems like he's having a little bit of fun playing a smug, smiling type of villain. Like I said, the lead guy, he has a good face. I know that sounds stupid. It's a good face and demeanor when he's doing the action scenes and making it look like a guy who's losing his vision. Because that's tough when you're doing sword work and you can't concentrate too much, otherwise you lose the effect of the story. It's not that he's completely blind. He can see a little bit, but he is losing it. It's just that a lot of the story, like the daughter was fine, but there's really not much I could talk about. It's not that there's nothing in the story that happened dealing with these characters. It's just there's nothing so noteworthy that you really be like, yeah. Like, for example, if I want to see this type of film, I would just rather rewatch Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. And while maybe the sword scenes are not as intricate in that film compared to this, there's still some very nice sword scenes. And the plot, I delved into it more. The sense of humor of Rutger Hauer's character, and how even though he's blind and he's really good with a sword, there's certain things he doesn't get. Like there's an alligator, but he thinks it's a dog, or when he's driving, "What, are you blind?" And then Rutger Hauer goes, "Yeah." And then the other guy's like, "Holy shit." That kind of levity and fun helped that story. The bad guy, Noble Williams, like, "Give me Bruce Lee. He's dead. Well, give me his brother." That kind of levity and humor, not saying this needed to have humor and comedy, but I'm just saying that had other parts of the story, as well as, the background Rutger Hauer's character, I thought was a little bit more interesting. That the guy who left him behind in Vietnam is also the guy that he is going to help out. And even that guy, played by Terry O'Quinn, gets his redemption arc. He's not going to leave again. He helps Rutger Hauer out in his time of need. And even the son character, how he doesn't have the best relationship with his father, and then almost has a father figure with Rutger Hauer's character. Even that seemed like there was a bit more meat to its bones compared to this. Again, it's not that it's done badly. It's just, it's done in a way where I'm sitting there and I'm passively watching it. And I don't know how else to describe it. And it's not that anything's done horribly. The score, the cinematography, the editing, it's just, you know when you get certain movies and you watch them, you're kind of sitting there and you're not mad, you're not angry, you're not bored, you're just kind of passive. That's a lot of times how I felt about this film. Is that okay? There are plenty of films back in the day with swordplay, plenty of kung fu flicks that are even crazier and more ridiculous and more silly and more what the fuck sword scenes and action sequences. On the flip side, it was nice to see something like that again when that's not the norm of today. It's one of those things when it is the norm, you see there's like 85 movies being made in 2 years, maybe you take that for granted, and you don't know what you got till it's gone. So maybe that's why, I mean, I say praise, it gets about a 6.8 in IMDb, decent rating for IMDb standards. The daughter, she's about teenage level. She's not, they don't make her a bitch. They don't make her annoying. They don't make her irritating. When they go to the market, she's trying to make him smile and has this little thing that he kind of brushes air to his face. Not in a mean way, but, to cool him down and get him to relax. Which reminded me a little bit of the beginning of Commando, when the father-daughter are having fun. It did take me a little bit while to do the request, so I apologize, David, because I wanted to find... Number one, we lost power for 8 hours, which was fun, because, the weather's so great here. Number two, I wanted to find the subtitle version, not the dub version. Because on a tangent, I don't really like watching a dub version of a film. I prefer a subtitle version, because it seems less goofy, unless it's a nostalgia thing, like old Godzilla movies. I'll just watch the English dub, like Son of Godzilla, or Godzilla vs. Megalon, or, that's nostalgia, that's fun, I'll prefer those. Or if it's a Jackie Chan, okay, another nostalgia, Inframan, I'll watch the English dub version. Or it's a Jackie Chan film where the dub version is his voice, and you get to hear his English, which I can understand, so I'm fine with it, and it's nice to hear the Jackie's own voice on it. This is not always the case, like Police Story 2, among others, which is a shame. I wish Jackie's actual voice would be in Police Story 1 and 2. You would think with all the releases of these films, get Jackie in. Hey, could you do your voice in Police Story? That'd be an interesting bonus feature. Again, just a little thing, but again, what do I know? Anyway, sorry, I'm back to this. So then as I'm watching it, I'm kind of passive, going, okay, it's good looking. I mean, right when it begins, it's raining, and it's in the middle of a fight, and things are not really going the hero's way, and then you cut to later on, and again, he wants to be just ends the safety of his daughter out in the mountains, relax, but he's pulled back into being the swordsman, as the title suggests. Sometimes once in a while he has a little bit of nightmares about what happened that night. Again, the lead guy did very, very nice in his swift movements. He's a good guy at heart. He stops at attempted rape. He doesn't take any flack after that. There's there's nice little badass moments where he'll just do like one or two slices. Like when he first unsheaths the sword, he's facing a villain who's got one of these hats that you don't see the guy's face. And the guy's, I forget what the type of weapon he's throwing, but he's got like a rope type of thing, and the lead catches it with the sheath, the cane, and then slides up, big old slice right into the guy's chest. Again, digital blood, which is a shame. Of the fight scenes, that's really one of my only issues with it. So it is maybe too bit of a slow burn for me. And like I said, there wasn't really anything to the story that got my creative juices pumping, or it seemed like an average story that's well filmed, has some really nice sword action sequences. At the very least, it's worth on YouTube, if you can find it, to find the action scenes where he fights the guys with the guns, which I think is the best one. Even the bit where he fights the ninjas. Pretty decent. Choreography. Again, it's not too many edits. Nice shaky cam to ruin the stuff. There's no BS out of the blue ending to make you go, where the hell did that come from? It doesn't do that. It's a more than competent action film if you are yearning for a movie. Like, if you know the actors like Jay and Hyuk and stuff, if you're yearning for that historical martial arts film with swordplay, if you want, it's a fairly straightforward flick for the most part. I think with the bad guys, seems like there's different shades of alliance, and I can't say it was really the most interesting, but it wasn't bad. Like, it's one of those reviews it's hard to do, because again, I found nothing that egregious about it. It just wasn't anything I'll ever watch again. Maybe 3 years down the road, I'm like, yeah, sifting through, oh, let me watch that fight scene on YouTube again. But it's not like a film that I yearn to get into the collection, or it did make me actually want to rewatch Blind Fury, Rutger Hauer. But you said, there's nothing bad about it. If you watch the trailer interests you, give it a watch. It's nothing that's going to get you mad. Go for a rainy afternoon or night. And there's really not much for me to say. Really enough, it actually made me want to rewatch Ninja Assassin as well. But I think the DVD I have is scratched, so maybe I'll try to pick up a Blu-ray of that sometime, if it's on Blu-ray. I haven't seen Ninja Assassin in a long time. I remember the blood being ridiculously digital, but it was set in modern time, and it was definitely a brutally violent movie. I just wish it was more practical. I was kind of entertained with how outlandish the blood was, and digital, but even that was almost entertaining. Sorry, going on another tangent. But yeah, the Swordsman, I prefer Blind Fury, some other movies like that, or the guy wasn't blind, but Shogun Assassin. But like I said, not a bad. I'll take this over Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'll take this over Hero and those kind of Wushu, very heavily wire worked historical swordplay films. Yeah, at least there wasn't tons of wire work where they're flying everywhere, and because there was a time where Iron Monkey, Hero, a little bit of Fearless, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, because of the popularity of that, hey, there's a comeback to these. That's not really my cup of tea. Unless it's like an old school kung fu where it's more like entertaining and just ridiculous. This one, it's hard to say grounded, because there's the bit where he's dodging the bullets and blocking. Very cool scene. But the swordplay is more grounded compared to those, is what I'm getting at. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.